We're back, Jack. The number one podcast in where are we? The number one podcast in today. Springfield. We're finally back again. Why did we take time off last week? My cousin got married. That's why my cousin got married. Kimmy and Sammy got married in Indiana, and that same day, a lot of other stuff happened that we're gonna get to. But before we get to that, what have you been on? What's going on with you, Larry?
Nothing really. Work, school. I went home that weekend.
It's been 2 weeks since we last recorded something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only missed that 1 week.
2 or 3 weeks.
That we missed? No. We recorded the week before Kimmy got married. Maybe not. I don't remember. Oh no, yeah, you're right. Because I remember we skipped a week because we wanted the news to build up, and then I had to get ready for the wedding, and then I worked every day that week, coincidentally, and I had a bunch of other stuff going on, so I just had no time to record that week, which was last week. And now it's Monday, the 25th, the week of Thanksgiving. Got any big Thanksgiving plans, bro?
No. Just dinner. I want to eat so bad, like all the food.
Just right now?
Yes.
I'm hungry.
No, I miss I miss home and the food back home.
Yeah, dude. Me and Chris it was after work, and we were talking about menudo yesterday with our coworkers. They knew nothing about it, and we explained to them what it is. If you know what it is, you know what it is, and explaining it doesn't make it sound very appetizing. No. Oh my goodness, dude, my mouth was watering when we were talking about it. I miss home so much. But yeah, so in that time, lots of things have happened. Lots of things have happened with the Prairie Stars. Both soccer seasons are over. I remember on the last episode, I kind of made some assumptions about our playoff hopes. I was right about the men's; they were out of it. The women's, though, they ended up making it into the GLVC tournament.
Didn't they both clinch?
I know the women's got knocked out the first round. I didn't think the men clinched a spot.
I don't know, but regardless, they both lost.
Yeah, regardless, both their seasons are over. Similarly, this one is more recently. The volleyball season also came to an end. It's a pretty fun season. A lot of firepower, like I have been saying. We have 3 players that received all GLVC volleyball honors. Our redshirt freshman, McKenna Cox, she had a great season. She's been a dominant force for the Prairie Stars this season, leading them with 426 kills, averaging 4.18 kills per set. That puts her 11th overall in D2 NCAA volleyball.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. She also had 372 digs, 43 blocks, and then 32 serve aces. That gives her 482.5 total points during the regular season. Who else got honors? Arini, of course, she also got honors. Bona fide leader of the team. She had her 1,000th kill against it was against UMSL.
Yeah,
on senior day. That was cool. Yeah, she had a great season. 352 kills, 322 digs, 31 blocks, 39 serving aces. That gave her a total of 412 points for the season. And then our setter, Erica Sledge, also had a great season. 978 assists, which puts her 5th in the GLVC. She also had 80 kills herself, 36 serving aces. Yeah, she was a very versatile player this year on defense and offense, creating opportunities for some of our heavy hitters on the outside and opposite side. Yeah, unfortunately at where was it? Williamsburg. Some dude named William. We went to go see him, and that's where the girls were playing volleyball. There's a lot of Prairie Stars at the game. I think I saw a good number of the softball team there. I think the whole basketball team showed up in one car, like a clown unit. They piled out of one Mini Cooper.
And they're also tall.
Yeah, Isaiah definitely drove. Yeah, they were there. We saw Mike there. Dr. J was there. And then there's a couple. I noticed a couple of the stars were also shagging balls for the game, like the actual tournament games. That was cool to see.
Yeah.
Um,
It was like a lot of our people.
yeah, we took over that place. Um, but yeah, I went with Chris and met you guys there, you and Cassandra, and we were only able to stay for the first two sets, right?
Yeah, like first and like yeah,
The first two sets, and they went down 2-0, and that's when Chris and I had to leave. Did they get swept?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jose was telling me actually. I don't remember. But yeah, that was tough. But overall, a good season. So what else is going on with the Stars though? Let's look forward. What's coming up now? Basketball. The boys are headed to, where are they going? Okay, so November 26th, which is tomorrow for us. The guys' basketball team are going to be playing Central Michigan in what's called the DoubleTree Thanksgiving Classic. That for that little, I guess, tournament thing, they're facing Central Missouri and Union College. I'm trying to figure out where this is going to happen. It doesn't say on here. But I'm pretty sure DoubleTree isn't DoubleTree like a hotel chain.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're playing at a hotel. No.
They're playing at a hotel. Nah. Let's see.
The DoubleTree Thanksgiving Classic. Where is that taking place? And as you look that up,
No.
I realized that I wouldn't even be able to go because I work. Well, technically, I could go Wednesday before I go home, depending on where it is.
Oh, it's hosted by Drury
Oh, Drury.
University.
Anyway, that's happening. Guys got a game Tuesday and then Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Good luck to them. I believe. Yes, the women also are in competition this coming Saturday, which is November 30th. It'll be, I believe, our first GLVC game. Yep, against UMSL. So right now the women's basketball team is coming off a 111-81 loss to 11th ranked Union. So yeah, I'll try to make it to that game. I think I work later in the afternoon.
I don't know what you just said, to be honest, but I lied. It's in Springfield, Missouri. That article was from 2 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, it's
Come on, Jamie Locken.
Springfield, Missouri.
Well, we have a men's and women's basketball game home November 30th. That's what I was just talking about. The women are taking on, well, both men's and women's are taking on UMSL. The women's side of UMSL are 3-1, and the men's side of UMSL are 0-5. For both our men's and women's teams, this will be our first GLVC conference game of the season, and it will be. Is this our home opener? I don't think it's a home opener. No. Chris was at the home opener, and I didn't go. Yeah, remember we were talking about who was he with? He thought he was with me, and I was like, I wasn't there, bro.
He thought it was Manny. Manny was also nice. It was with Flacco.
Yeah. But yeah. So this will be the first GLVC game of the season at home. Then, we'll see if I can make any of them. When are you coming back from Thanksgiving?
Sunday.
Oh, never mind.
Monday.
Never mind.
Tuesday.
Anyways, yeah, that's what's going on with the Stars. Now let's get into last weekend, right? This was all last weekend?
No. 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, already. Dang.
Jesus Christ.
Jiminy Crickets. Nah, 2 weekends ago. So 2 weekends ago, Mike versus Jake happened. Mike Tyson. Mike Paul versus Jake Tyson happened. Honest reviews. 1 out of 10. Of all the fights you've ever seen, give me an honest review.
Bro, it was just sad to watch.
It was depressing, dude. Yeah. I watched that. Okay, so that's where I was in Indiana for my cousin's wedding. So I was there with the whole family at an Airbnb, really nice Airbnb, dude. We had it was a lake house.
Yeah.
We had it was like a big glass wall that just looked out into the lake. Mm-hmm. It was just the back of the house was just glass, and you just looked out, and it was awesome.
Like CRSM.
Yeah, it was like my high school. It was like my high school, but less like Sesame Street. Yeah, it was kind of scary though.
And like you guys all stayed there?
Yeah, it was
Pretty much all of you guys.
yeah, well no, because my brother and his girlfriend stayed somewhere else, and then yeah, even my oldest cousin, who has a kid, there's no kids invited to the wedding.
Did she go?
No, because there's no kids invited, but she just came for the trip. My baby cousin, and her dad took care of her at the house. So when we were at the after party, we came back.
There was an after party?
Of the wedding, yes. You ceremony then party.
Oh, bro, that makes it seem like at the end of the night, like 1 a.m., there was another party.
Nah,
You mean at the reception?
sure.
Yes.
I don't know. I've never gotten married.
No, but
You know
like,
too much about marriages, actually.
damn. No, I just know party.
Anyway, so yeah, they met us. my oldest cousin met us back at the Airbnb with like pizza and stuff to watch the UFC event. But anyway, let's go back to Friday. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul happens on Friday, and I'm there with my dad, my uncle, my grandpa, my grandma, my mom, my cousin, my other cousin, my aunt, my uncle, my brother, his girlfriend, my other brother, my other cousin. There's a good amount of us in there. We were watching this boxing match, and my dad, he's obviously grew up a big Mike Tyson fan. He's always been into boxing, kind of like I have been while he was growing up, and he was a big Mike Tyson guy, so he was really excited for this. You know, he really thought that Mike had a good chance. He even said at one point that he thought that if it goes to a decision that Mike was gonna win it, and I was like, what? No, dude, like that's no. And I felt like he really had his hopes up for Mike to do something, and a lot of people did. And I think we'll get into this in a little bit, but I think that's where a lot of these people are finding issues with the fight itself, legal issues even. But so yeah, everyone was super excited. My dad, I'll say it, we're a gambling family. My dad was like, he was like writing down like rounds to throw in a cup, and people pick rounds out of a cup and things like that, and like vying to a pool, and you know, we were making it fun.
Yeah.
And then the fight wasn't fun. The fight was actually very depressing. Like the Amanda Serrano fight and Katie Taylor fight, that was another banger.
Yeah.
Another banger. Like that was really good. I actually got into like a little like, not an argument, but like a little like I guess dispute over Instagram in the comment section. Yeah, dude. Because this one lady, she like commented, and it was pretty ignorant, I think. She was like, who would have thought that the women's fight was going to be more entertaining than Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? And then I commented, yeah, who would have thought a fight of the year contender from 2022 was going to be a better fight than, you know, a 6-year-old fighting someone 30 years younger than him.
Yeah.
And I was like, duh. But then people commented like, no, like she thought she cooked with that. Like, low key, my post was popping off. Like, I was getting a lot of comments saying like, haha, yeah, people don't know about boxing. Haha, yeah, people don't know about this, that. And then someone said something, not really defending the original comment, but I don't know, that I guess misinterpreted my point, and now I kind of just reiterated my point to that person, and was like, oh well, I just believe that people don't understand, you know, the growth that women's combat sports in general has made. You know, there's been a lot of like great fights within the last 5 years that come out of women's boxing and even women's MMA that, you know, deserve like a fight like Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano too. Really deserve like its own pay-per-view if it wanted to. It could have been. But and then a couple hours later, the original commenter replied to that comment. It was like, oh my God, I didn't know the pick me men still exist, blah 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 blah. This is gonna be a rough 4 years for you. I just liked her comment. I was like, okay, she thought she cooked. No, but ignorance is bliss. I'm a combat sport fan, and I have been a big fan of a lot of the stuff that's been happening on the women's side of combat sports in recent years. And, you know, the fact that she's ignorant to the growth that women's sports have made, you know, I think is fine. It's okay. But to assume that me not really even defending the fight itself, I didn't have to. The fight did that itself. It was a great fight. More so me, like, trying to, I thought in a nice way, explain to her, you know, the impact and the growth that women's sports have made. in the last 5 years in combat specifically, I thought, I was doing a good thing.
Like she would have been like, oh.
You're like, oh yeah, you're right. No, she just, I guess, really wants to hate on women. Anyway, shout out to that commenter on Instagram. You made my day. Yeah, and I just like that comment. Let her think she cooked, but she didn't. She burnt it. She burnt it. But there's actually a lot of talks as of recently now about the fight being fixed. I don't know if you heard, but Cowboys legend Michael Irvin was saying that he got a peek at the contract, and they were saying that, or he was saying that he saw that Mike couldn't throw body punches or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. That's what it says. Let me see. I have an article here. It said, since the final bell, theories have flooded the internet about the contract for the bout, with NFL legend Michael Irvin claiming, oh, they fixed it. I remember I read this article the first time. It said Michael Irwin. Michael Irvin, he played wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, were number 88 in the 90s. He was crazy. He was a crazy dude. I read a book on the Dallas Cowboys, and like the opening, like, I guess like the opening story, like the opening anecdote that it gives you about the 90s Dallas Cowboys is a story of Michael Irvin stabbing one of his teammates in the neck with scissors.
Why?
Because he wouldn't get out of the barber seat or something like that. It was crazy. But yeah, so Michael Irvin was he was about on the level of crazy as Mike Tyson was in the 90s as well. Mm-hmm. So Mike and Mike were both wild dudes in the 90s. Michael Irvin claiming that the contract prohibited Tyson from throwing certain shots. He said, I was looking for the patent, one to the body, one on the uppercut, Irvin said on the Herd podcast. When he hits that, it's boom, boom, boom. I want to see that. But we didn't get that. Not a one. I saw someone else say that it was in the contract, no uppercuts. They had it in the contract. Come on, guys. Why wouldn't Mike Tyson throw an uppercut? Let's start with the fact that he's 60 years old. And if you saw the fight, you saw that, yeah, Mike came out kind of guns a-blazing the first round. Mm-hmm. And then I think it was like the third round. Jake hit him good, and like he got all wobbly, and from then it was over pretty much. Yeah. Mike was done after about 4 minutes. The first 2 rounds he was okay, and then he gassed, and
his legs were like, nah.
His legs were, oh my goodness, his knees, his poor knees. Yeah, he just, I don't think the fight was fixed at all. I just think that in it of itself, it was never made for Mike to win.
Like it was not like a setup, but I mean the outcome was pretty much.
Yeah, the outcome was set in stone, and this is where a lot of people are having issue with that. You go all the way through the effort of sanctioning the fight from the Texas State Athletic Commission. This is a fight that counts towards their record. And then at the end of the fight, the press conference, you have Jake saying, oh, I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want to knock him out, This is a professional fight now.
Yeah, like it could have just been an exhibition.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then that's why you have this whole thing about people and bettors saying that they should be liable for damages because they put money on this fight. And now you're basically telling me now that you fixed the fight yourself by not knocking him out, understanding that you probably could have, and you didn't go for it. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. I bet money on you to knock him out, dude. And you just told me right now in the press conference, like 30 minutes after the fight.
Actively tried not.
Yeah, exactly. That's like point shaving in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like that's like, yeah, like not scoring a free throw, like or an easy layup because you want to have the under in your points. Mm-hmm. But the issue with something like that is there's been some history of people trying to do that, especially like bettors trying to sue, or like even like just fans trying to sue against an organization for some circumstances that could maybe have been the results of some kind of cheating or debauchery. Mm-hmm. And like the one thing that I recently looked up and saw was back when the New England Patriots, when they got caught filming other teams.
Oh yeah.
There was people saying that, like especially season ticket holders for the New York Jets, who are division rivals of the Patriots, saying that, I can't resell my tickets for a high price, or not a high price, but like for a regular price, because they're going up against the cheating Patriots. Who's gonna want to go see the cheating Patriots beat the Jets if they're just going to be cheating and everyone knows the outcome of the game.
Yeah.
And then that case got thrown away because they were like, no, you don't really have, proper standing for receiving damages for something like this. So
Dang.
I think there had been something filed already on the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul thing, and I just don't see it going anywhere. Yeah, there's been 2 class action lawsuits filed. I believe they would have to go through like class certification first to see, and that's how they would determine who would be able to receive damages. Is certify the classes that would be, or that could receive damages from this. So it could be the bettor, it could be the people that have a Netflix account, it could be the people that were there live.
Mm-hmm.
It's those kinds of things that make me say that this is probably going to get thrown out. The first one. The first suit is that if a similar problem happens with one or both of the Christmas games that they're having for the NFL, Netflix and the NFL could face legal scrutiny, especially since the NFL now has reasons to know that that Netflix might not be able to accomplish the task of delivering games to viewers. Because remember the whole like streaming, like it kept cutting out, it kept getting blurry and things like that. Yeah. Oh, this is an NBC Sports article, but yeah, so that's one side of the suit aside from the betting stuff. That's another side of the lawsuits that are coming in because they're saying that if they're unable to like, I guess, broadcast the games without disruption or without frequent disruption, then viewers could be able to seek damages from either the NFL or Netflix, or probably Netflix. And then the second, it shows how easy for a class action lawsuit is to be filed. The NFL faces the content risk of oh, this is just NFL stuff. Yeah, right here. Anyone who bet on Paul to win by KO or TKO could craft a lawsuit based on the comment from Paul when he was asked whether he took his foot off the gas during the third round. He said, "Yeah, definitely a bit. I wanted to give the fans a show, but I didn't want to hurt someone that didn't need to be hurt." You're in a sanction. That's the whole thing.
But like, it's not like he like brought up a camera and like jumped Mike Tyson. Like this was agreed. Like yeah, let's beat each other up.
I think this is where it could get a little tricky, is because this was a sanctioned fight. They went through the actual processes of like getting health screenings and getting the like legal judges and referees and doctors, and they got the state commission behind them to back it. And I think even, I don't know if any of the ABC organizations were involved in it. Probably not, but yeah, they went through all of that to say that this is a real fight. This is going to happen. No headgear. We got special rules. We got bigger gloves. Only 2-minute rounds. We're going 8 rounds. But, you go through all of that. And then, at the end of it, you're just like, no, I was just playing with them.
Yeah.
I feel like it shows that they understood that there could have been some liability, or that there was going to be some kind of liability that comes with this fight. And they wanted to protect the fighters, obviously, and make it official as possible, but also that puts in perception, or that puts in perspective, I guess it puts the fans in a perspective that looks at the fight more legitimately than the actual fighters thought it was going to be,
Yeah, like, you would think it's going to be the same type of fight if, like, Canelo fought someone. Like
that's how they were advertising it.
Yeah.
That's how they were selling it, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think those cases are going to go anywhere. I think it's going to be kind of muddled down, and those kind of stuff will go away. But it's just like, it's such a taint on my sport. I hate it. But, continuing on with the theme of predetermined action, another form of predetermined combat sports coming to Netflix is the WWE moving over to Netflix. And there's been a lot of concern, not just after like the whole like a bunch of bug glitches during the live events, that not just the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I remember Joe Rogan did his comedy special, and there was some bugs in there. Who else did a live special? Wasn't Cat's live? Cat Williams, didn't he do a live one in like 2021 or 2022? I don't know, but there's been a few comedians that have done live specials. There's the Tom Brady roast was also live.
Oh, that one was.
Yeah.
Did Tom Segura do a live Or did he just drop his special?
I don't know that his was live.
Mm.
But I remember there was like some slight broadcasting issues with the Tom Brady roast too. So yeah, Netflix is having issues with this, and now you're bringing something that's growing as fast as WWE is, with the viewerships that they're getting now. They're gonna have to deal with that on a weekly basis, every Monday night, every Saturday night, or yeah, every Friday night. I think every Tuesday night for NXT too, and then they have pay-per-views, or not pay-per-views, PLEs, premium live events that happen about once a month. This is only gonna get more frequent for Netflix. So they got to figure this stuff out, because not only are they going to have that, but another thing that people are kind of getting concerned about is the whole catalog of WWE, like documentaries and shows and movies, and where are they going to go? Well, they're saying, oh yeah, they're all going to come to Netflix, but it's never been specified how much of it, what all is coming, because WWE has their own network that's shutting down, and they're moving, they're migrating over to Netflix. I didn't read anything about what's happening with Peacock. I didn't find anything. It was kind of just more talking about the fact that the network was going down and they're migrating over to Netflix. And then a lot of people just got all up in arms about the fact that they weren't specific about what's actually moving over, aside from the weekly shows and the PLEs. And then I think they said something about, like, it was like something really ambiguous. It was select programming. That's what it was saying. That select programming will be moving over, but it doesn't say, like, does it include WCW, ECW, WCCW, Evolve, any of their other entities that they bought over the years, and all of that stuff. Is that coming over? Like, where, like, a lot of wrestling fans are very concerned about where they're going to be able to find all of that content that they've so conveniently been able to find in the past. That they're kind of, starting to feel iffy about this thing. And I think that's fair, because another issue I've been having with this whole thing is the fact that this is really just growing that monopoly that not just Netflix, but like streaming services are beginning to have. Like, they're becoming the new Comcast, DirecTV, Dish.
Dude. Yes.
Like, it's the thing literally we were trying to escape from, like, satellite and cable television.
The expensiveness, the commercials.
Yeah. Like it's like,
what? Why? In between, like, movies, in between shows, like 30-minute episodes, there's like 5 ads.
Yeah, and like, if you're watching like an hour-long YouTube video, you're gonna get like a 2-minute long unskippable ad, which, I think to anyone older than like 35 are gonna be like, oh, what 2 minutes for an ad, whatever. But that was the whole thing we were trying to, run away from when people began first, moving into streaming. Was one, it was on demand, which was something that was available on like cable and stuff, but that costs so much on top of your regular cable bill or your satellite bill. So it was on demand, but also there was no commercials. Like, you just watch your show and binge it for days on end. Yeah. And now, you can't get through one episode of Family Guy without 7 commercials. And it's only like a 20-something minute long episode.
And you're paying for the streaming service.
Yeah, and you're paying for yeah, exactly. You got to get like the streaming service that you're paying for, plus, Super Mega Ultra Edition Max,
Dude,
just to not get commercials.
Yeah, it's like an add-on if you don't want commercials.
Exactly.
That's so...
When it was initially one of the bigger selling points of streaming services. So, yeah, there's a lot of things kind of concerning people with WWE's move to Netflix. I personally am a little bit excited for it, just because of the freedom that they're going to have now moving to PG-13, where they can move with storylines and stuff like that. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Like I said, it's a very fast growing again industry. It was kind of on the down slope for a little bit when I was probably about when I was like in middle school, high school. It really sucked. It really sucked, dude.
Wait, Netflix doesn't do commercials. Bro, how are your legs all the way over here?
I don't know.
Netflix doesn't do commercials like
yet.
That's what I'm saying. So do you think, like, Monday Night Raw, right? It's on Netflix, it's live. Do you think they obviously go to commercials right now? What are they gonna do in that?
Was there commercials on the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul thing? I don't remember.
Damn.
I don't think so.
No, but I feel like no. I think it was just like replays. To be honest.
Yeah.
Did you see? How did you feel about? Well, did you see? Like the premium seats, I guess, of the.
Oh yeah, those guys that were sitting there like
Yeah.
they were like on a date or something.
Yeah. Couch TV right in front of the ring.
Yeah, they were literally right in front of the ring. Like the ring, like the TV that they were watching the fight on, the back of the TV was to the ring.
Yeah.
All they had to do was look up, and the fight was right there. But they had the
Right.
TV right there showing the same, I guess the satellite feed or something. And they had like popcorn and M&Ms and like jelly beans and like
It
boogers
was
and
like
stuff.
it was like a movie theater setting for a live fight.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it was cool. Like
Yeah.
probably just sound like some haters, but
Bro.
it sucked. Why would I want to sit there? No, I'm sure it was awesome, but like, yeah. I saw a lot of different like seating arrangements at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. And which another thing too, they fill up the Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
Mhm.
You don't fill up the Dallas Cowboys Stadium without, this. We're going back to the same thing, but you don't fill up the Dallas Cowboys Stadium without selling on the fact that this is going to be a real fight, and
Yeah.
it wasn't really all the way, kind of, sort of. But anyway, yeah, that's the WWE thing that I wanted to talk about. We'll talk more wrestling on the later date. Wrestling. We can go. I can go into
We
depth.
need a WWE episode.
You need to learn how to say WWE.
WWE.
Yes. But anyway, so the night after Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, Johnny Bones Jones came back. But before that, Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira happened.
Charlie Olive.
Did you watch that one?
No. I was
You're
eating
such
cake.
a loser.
No.
Cake over Charlie Olives.
Yes.
What was it? Your birthday or something?
Yeah.
I spilled my coffee. Yeah, I guess whatever.
You're
but
such a hater. What the heck?
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so then I guess I'll tell you about the Michael Chandler versus Charlie Olives fight. That was I was gonna say that was a good fight. Honestly, Charles kind of like just did his thing and like mauled Michael Chandler for 4 rounds, and then like I think at the beginning of the 5th round, Mike stands up and like gives himself like a sign of the cross, and then like he's like, all right, let's do this. He was beat, dude. Like he almost got knocked out a couple times in the 4th round.
Really?
Yeah, so in the 5th round, he just like emptied out the gas tank and stuff, and then Charles gets his back at one point, and this was towards the end of the fight, and Mike does a thing where he stands up and then tries to slam him off his back. He did that twice.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of cool. And then the fight was over, and I was like, yeah,
There was nothing.
yeah. And then not Charles. Mike called out who did he call out? Did he call him Max Holloway?
No.
Justin Gaethje? He called out somebody for the BMF title. And then he also called out
It's Justin, because doesn't Justin have the title?
no, Max does, because Max knocked him out, remember? Last second.
Yes, that was an amazing fight,
Yeah.
actually.
So it might have been Max that he called out. But I remember, I think more notably, he called out Connor too to get back in the ring and stop messing around. I don't care to see Connor in the ring again. I was never the biggest Connor fanboy. He obviously a great fighter at one point in his life, but now he's definitely lost that edge. And I'm not afraid to say it. Sorry
That was
to all the Connor fanboys. But okay, now let's get into what was that? Oh no, we didn't talk about John Jones, dude. John Jones is a scary dude.
Dude,
I think John
insane.
Jones is as scary as I think he's scarier than Mike Tyson was in his prime. If I am walking through a dark alley and Mike
Did
Tyson,
you say this to me already, or did someone else?
probably.
Say that? Okay.
But if I'm walking down a dark alley and I see John Jones or Mike Tyson, I'm walking towards Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Like I'll like sweep the leg or like shoot for a takedown. I try to do that with John Jones, I'm gonna get my head ripped off.
Just.
Yeah, he's a scary dude, and like just like the happy, like the joy in his face when he was doing that
he's
stuff.
Like psychotic. It makes him seem psychotic, which is scary.
Makes him seem he is. He's in, dude. He is terrifying. He's terrifying. the greatest fighter of all time, and I think that goes without saying. I think everyone should just know that by now. There's no debate. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Dana White was right.
Papa Dana's always right. But yeah, so I think right now they're in talks for the Tom Aspinall fight to unify the heavyweight belts. So that should be cool. I hope that happens. He said that he more than likely will be fighting in 2025. But I guess when you're, John Jones, you can pick and choose,
Right. It's not like they were both going to retire like 2 weeks ago after this fight.
Yeah, true. It's not like they were both saying that it could be their last fight.
Dude, Stipe was like ready to leave the ring.
Yeah, Stipe was ready to leave the ring by the third round.
Yeah, he was like, all right, anyways.
Yeah. He was ready to leave by the end of the second round, actually. Maybe the end of the first round. He saw that his speed wasn't there on par with John's, and it was kind of demoralizing for him. He was like, oh yeah, I'm done after this. What am I doing?
Yeah.
He's going to go back and be a firefighter. Fight fires, not John Jones. But yeah. You got anything else on the John Jones fight?
No, but that heel kick was nasty.
It was gross.
Yeah.
I thought I heard a rib crack when he threw it. It was like, I was like, ugh, that poor guy. Stipe's probably got a crazy bruise.
Yeah. Crazy.
But yeah, so I have a little update on what's happening with the House settlement, the House versus NCAA case. So they reached a settlement, went back to the judge. The judge said no, fix some things, and they went back and fixed some things, and now there is preliminary approval for it. So what's happening now is I have a timeline here. So here's how things are supposed to happen. By December 17th, right now it's November 15th, November 25th. by December 17th, I believe it's the NCAA are going to start sending out allocation estimates. I'm pretty sure the only eligible classes for receiving money from the settlement date back to 2016, the 2016 season for college football and Division I men's basketball. So they're going to send out allocation estimates, and whether the athletes opt in or not is pretty much going to be based on that. It's like, hey, you might be eligible for $10,000 in damages from the House settlement. Opt in or opt out. What do you want to do? And then on that same day, 60 days after the notice date, the motion for attorney's fees, reimbursement of litigation expenses, and the service awards will also be announced. And then January 31st, that is the exclusion and objection deadline, as long as the claims period will close. So that's the last day that people can say that they want to opt in for to receive damages from the settlement for back pay. And then March 3rd, the motion for final approval and response to objections are due. So whether it's going to go through or not. And then if there have been objections, what are the responses to the objections? And then April 7th is the final approval hearing, in which they will say, okay, everyone's getting this much. Schools have this much to spend on students, and they have to spend this much after every month. Things that we've talked about before, but that's pretty much the timeline of things that are happening. What could happen in this whole process is that everything could get backed up by a couple of things. One of them is the question of employee status. So obviously there are other cases happening right now that we've talked about, and there's other cases that we talked about, and a few of them, the one that pops in my mind specifically is the one with Dartmouth and their men's basketball team, and the question of employee statuses for whether student athletes have legal employee status according to the NLRA, the National Labor Relations Act, and the FLSA, the Fair Labor Standards Act. Here's a little article I found from this website. I think this is European. Fisher Phillips, I don't know. But it's 100% true because it's on the internet. But it says on the employee question, the House is an antitrust case. Well, we've talked about that. It does not directly resolve or address the longstanding debate whether student athletes are employees under the NLRA and the FLSA, FLSA. However, the settlement, which would introduce revenue sharing components for student athletes, may impact several of the legal actions involving student athlete reclassification that are pending before the National Labor Relations Board in federal courts, namely that of the one in Dartmouth, also the one that is happening, the Johnson case. It's right here, actually. Johnson versus NCAA, which is another like a pay-for-play lawsuit that's happening. Another one that kind of comes to mind too, not necessarily pay for play, but revenue sharing with TV deals, is the fentanyl case happening in Colorado. That's actually the guy that I met. I'll get to that. But so basically, this question, I believe it was in the Johnson case. The Johnson case is what introduced this new standard for determining whether student athletes are employees, and it looks at whether they perform services for another party. This is talking about the student athletes. They perform services for another party, i.e. the school, necessarily and primarily for the party's benefit. So is it benefiting the school or the conference or the NCAA? Are they under that party's control or right of control? So, athletic time, they already check all that stuff. And then do so in return for express or implied compensation in kind benefits. So if we're going at the last part, in kind benefits, your scholarships, book vouchers, yada, 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 that you would have gotten otherwise. But now that they're actually getting actual compensation, that's easier to tie into it. So, with this ruling happening in House, and then we eventually would get to something where a federal case rules that student athletes are employees. Well, that would mess up the whole House ruling, because the whole thing about House was to kind of prevent it. House is going to start the pay-for-play model regardless. That's basically what's happening with House. Mm-hmm. These other cases are these other employment status cases are mainly, I think they're mainly for the protection of the athlete themselves from things like House. Because I feel like House, and what it's doing is it's trying to predetermine how much a student can be paid, and in doing so, they do it in a way that is beneficial to the NCAA, which in and of itself could also be kind of, a restriction on trade. If they're saying that they can only spend this much on an athlete, and then the athlete's only, able to receive this cap of money, then, is that a restriction on them being able to negotiate, their price for uses of their name, image, and likeness by the schools or the conference? So, as they move through this employment status issue, I think that once it finally gets figured out, and in my opinion, once it finally is realized that these student athletes should be classified as legal employees, then I think that this whole House thing is going to fall apart. However, I think we'll see. What was the last date I gave you on the April 7th? I think we'll get to April 7th before all that, though. I think we'll get to the final approval hearing. I don't know that there's going to be an objection at this point that stops either side from going with or moving forward with the House settlement. If a case wasn't already consolidated within these three, so it was House, Hubbard, and Carter, I think, are the three named cases. If they weren't consolidated with them already, like fentanyl or Johnson or anything that's been happening in Tennessee, even or Dartmouth. Obviously, those are all different issues. But the fact that they weren't brought into the House case leaves this settlement, I think, in a little bit more jeopardy than people realize.
Yes, I have questions that I thought about.
What?
While you were talking.
What?
Okay, the House case, they're trying to determine like a salary cap.
Pretty much, yeah. So that's why it was like $28 billion or something like that. And in schools, I think the first year, so this is just for men's football and men's basketball at the Division I level. Here's some things here. No, not 20. Duh. $2.8 billion. Approximately 2.3 after taxes. That's what I'm reading here. But it has been reported that the majority of the 2.8 billion going back to student athletes will go to football and men's basketball athletes at the current Power 5 conferences, the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, and previous members of the Pac-12. Pac-12 is now dissolved. We talked about that. And then the distribution of all these funds will be determined with a formula that equates a player's value to lost NIL opportunities rather than a set amount based on your sport and gender, right? So they are also going to begin revenue sharing in 2025. The settlement is finalized July 2025. Will signal the start of the college athletics pay for play era. If a school opts into the settlement, student athletes are expected to receive up to 22% of the average Power Conference revenue in 2025, estimated to be between $21 and $23 million. That figure is expected to grow by about 4% each year. That amount would work like a salary cap, meaning that colleges that opt into the settlements do not need to reach that total when paying their student athletes. So they will have about $20 to $23 million to spend. They don't have to spend it all, obviously, but, you know, it would be probably advantageous to spend that money on good athletes, and especially if you're making the money. Yeah, there's new things about roster limits, updated redshirt rules. They got rid of the national letter of intent. There's more clarity on NIL collectives. I thought that was pretty interesting. This Sports Recruits article says a primary reason for the delay in the House versus NCAA preliminary approval was Judge Wilkins' request for further clarification on how NIL collectives can continue compensating student athletes. So a collective isn't directly tied to a school, but they have an interest in the school. So let's say we have a UIS collective. They're not from UIS, but they want good athletics programs to come to UIS, or athletic players to come to UIS. So the function of a collective is to, I guess, like advertise and bring in players and find NIL deals originally before they can just straight up pay them for nothing. Well, not nothing, but like straight up pay them for not necessarily like posting something on their Instagram or, you know.
So a collective is just like a company or organization?
As of right now, they function as a, I guess you can call it like a one-stop shop for an athlete that wants to play for a particular university, for them to help them find NIL deals. But that's the way the collective works now. So a primary reason, blah, 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 blah. A third-party entity is expected to approve any compensation that does not come directly from the school. Athletes can appeal the decision through a separate neutral arbitrator if an NIL deal is declined. The NCAA wants to keep an eye on these NIL deals to ensure that they are at fair market value rather than simply paying an athlete to attend their school. So they basically want to have control over who is paying the athletes. And I think that's another thing. You know, they're the final say on the contract between the athlete and who's paying them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's happening. That's pretty much the next steps in that case. And yeah, I think eventually it's going to kind of come into some, what's it called? Obstacles. It'll hit some obstacles along the way, but as of right now, I think they'll make it to April. What did I say? April 7th?
17? 7?
April 7th, my dad's birthday.
That's your dad's birthday?
I think. Pretty sure. I hope. Yeah, that's what's happening. Oh, and then related to this, so like I was talking about the fentanyl case, I met the lawyer involved with that case, and obviously I can't say much about it. We didn't talk about that case, obviously. He's working on it, so. But we did talk about another case that he worked on. Oh my God, the name of the case. I forget the name of the case, but it was basically, he was the lawyer that argued against the MLB and helped MLB players achieve, or I guess MLB minor league players achieve minimum wage finally. Because there was a good period of time prior to, I want to say it was 2015 that this case happened. But there's a good period of time where MLB minor league players were getting paid like $12,000, $15,000 a year for baseball activities, that they were taking part in 365 days a year. They're, coaching teams, or, they're trying to be active, or, maintain, being in shape and things like that. And because they're trying to make it to the league, obviously. So they're not going to, take a winter break like a normal person would, or take a summer break like a normal person would. They're playing ball 24/7, 365 days a year, because they're a professional baseball player. But at the end of the day, their salaries were so that they were living with each other. They were bunking, with people that they knew in whatever minor league city that they were in, and it was really rough for them. And this lawyer that I met, Garrett Brushes, he was a former pitcher himself in the minor league system. I believe he pitched for Mizzou. He had like 17-0 season at Mizzou in his senior year, something crazy like that. I remember he was telling me about it. And he ended up going through minor league systems. He was in it for a good amount of time, and he saw a lot of that. And it motivated him to begin the discussion of unionizing and having players be represented by the MLB Players Association, which represents the major league players. At that time, they weren't representing the minor league players. It was just major league baseball players that they were representing, and that had a collective bargaining agreement. So Garrett was one of the players that brought this issue up, and then he ends up retiring from minor league ball, goes to law school, gets signed to this firm, and this is one of his first cases. Is he's going up against the MLB, which is insane. First of all, that.
Oh yeah, because he was so young.
Yeah, he was. Well, he was so young into his law career.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was like 30-something when he.
Yeah, but he was like a newbie.
Yeah, he was like a pretty fresh-faced lawyer, and he's going up against the MLB, and he won. He won. He got the MLB PA to represent minor league players now, so now they have representation. Now they have a collective bargaining agreement. Now MLB players are they're not allowed to, but they have to receive minimum wage now. There's more benefits involved. There's more protections for them now, and this guy really did a lot in the world of baseball. And looking at that, I feel like that's a similar model to what's happening now with college athletics. Is they're realizing what could happen with employee status, well, not employee status, but with a collective bargaining and with a union, and what that was able to do for minor league players. And I think that's the direction we're going to end up going with this college stuff. And, we've talked about that before, but I am pretty much of the camp that employee status is what's going to save college athletics. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mic drop. Drop it.
No, I don't own this mic. What was I going to say? But, yeah, honestly, that conversation with Garrett actually wasn't super, legalese. We didn't talk too much about that kind of stuff. We actually talked a lot about me, which was weird. Not weird, but it was cool. It was really cool that he was really interested in seeing what I was about, and kind of not necessarily what I knew, but where I was coming from. He was a very, very nice guy, very personable, super tall. So he definitely he was a ball player back in the day. Yeah, super nice guy, super chill. Bought me lunch. That was cool.
Shout out.
Yep. But yeah, hopefully I get to have another conversation with him soon about different things. The guy knows a lot, and he knows a lot of people, and I think it would be cool to kind of pick his brain, maybe a little bit more on some of the finer nuances of that case. Obviously, like I said, the other case that he's working on right now is almost impossible for him to talk about with me, so I kind of had to avoid that subject. But the fentanyl case is interesting to follow. Like I said, that has to do with revenue sharing from television deals. Because as we know, there's a lot of money that can come from those. I think the Netflix and WWE deal, that was a $5 billion deal. So we're talking billions with B. American monies. Yeah. Right. So yeah. Oh, and that was that same week that Kimmy got married.
That's why we didn't film, because we didn't. I left Thursday. You had a meeting Thursday.
Yeah, I met with Garrett Thursday, and then I left for Indiana Friday, and then I came back Sunday. But yeah, you got anything else?
Nope.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's all I got. This was a fun episode. We got to yap a little bit, or I got to yap a little bit about some stuff that's been on my mind.
Right.
And you got to play with your phone. I don't know what you're doing over there.
What?
But yeah, it was a good episode. What's next week? Is that the week before finals? Dang, dude. You think we'll get another episode out before we go home for winter break?
Yes, I'm here next week, but I'm not here the week after that. Gone
So
with the
basically
Wind.
next week or no?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll see if we see you guys next week. If not, we'll probably see you guys next semester. I think things are looking up though. We got some things planned for next semester. Some more guests, bring some more people on. I haven't forgotten about the story times. I want to get back to that. I just need to find the time to write one. I was fortunate enough to have written that previous one, and it was pretty much done for me. So I had to, But now I think this next story time is going to be a little bit more interactive, a little like less scripted. So it's more of a conversation between Larry and I about something that happened in the world of sports and laws. And I think it might just be baseball centered. So make sure you study up on your baseball.
First winter break.
So I gave you homework. But yeah, that's all I have. Hopefully we see you guys next week, or you'll hear from us next week. If not, have a happy holidays. Have a good winter break. God bless America. I love my mom. I love you, Zoe. Got anything else? All right.
Bye,
Adios.
guys.